Today I'm driving across the state of Utah, and as is so often the case, on the one hand I have very little time, on the other hand there are all these award-winning national parks along my route, and I'd like to check them out. Based on my experiences, I've developed a very simple strategy I use to try to get the most out of these short, in this case about 45-minute national park visits. Step one of the strategy is for me to pick one singular spot. I say one, maybe sometimes it's two or three, but I hate that feeling of, oh, let's get out of the car, let's quickly scramble around, try to see some things, take a few pictures, get back in the car, repeat that 3 or 4 times. I end up not really forming any memories, no real connection to the place, to the park, to, the environment. And it's just a recipe for regret in my experience. I like to pick one place, and I like to spend some time in this one place. First thing I like to do in this one place is focus on my immediate surroundings. Check out the soil, check out the rock. I love to try to climb something, as that really gets me close to the ground and the rock. Kind of gets me back in my body a little bit too after sitting all day. But yeah, I just like to build a connection to the immediate environment. See what kind of little birds and creatures I can spot, try to get a sense of what's going on right around me. Once I've moved around a little bit and mastered my immediate surroundings, the next step for me is always to start looking outwards, to start looking upwards. Sometimes I'll break out a map and try to situate where I am right now relative to the rest of the park. Sometimes I'll see a distant mountain or trail and wonder if I could backpack over there in the future. This is often the time where I start to kind of formulate future plans in the park. Now those plans may change, but this is always just a great kind of starting off point to imagine what I want to do in this place in the future if I ever get to come back. It's at this point, after having looked around and looked out, that I start to understand what's important to me, what's interesting to me in this park. Now I think some people make a mistake here and they think, oh, it's only based off of 30 or 45 minutes and I don't have this comprehensive understanding of the park. And yeah, you're right, you don't. And what you think is interesting or amazing about the park certainly may change if you get the opportunity to have more experience here in the future. But you didn't. You had 30 minutes, you had 45 minutes, and so even if you just take a little bite out of it, a little slice out of it, it'll at least be your bite, it'll be your slice, it'll be your ideas, and something to build on in the future. Or not, but either way, you have some solid memories and some solid personal experience now in this park. In my opinion, this is where I used to mess up in the past and where other travelers mess up all the time. I think that instead of having this one kind of grounded personal experience in one place in the park, they exchange that for 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, and hit 4 or 5 different overlooks, one little scenic trail, and I don't know, I think that turns into just kind of like a checklist thing. Like, oh, I'm gonna check off each of these 5 things, kind of in a hurry, checking my watch constantly, making sure I'm seeing what I'm supposed to see based on what my guidebook told me is interesting. And look, if you enjoy that, then more power to you. That's awesome. But in my experience, that ends up, not really feeling like my experience. It kind of feels like I'm just going along, like I said, checking off boxes that someone else has told me to check. I end up not really remembering much and not really feeling like I've visited the place. Well, anyway, guys, maybe some of my thoughts have been useful to you. Maybe they've not been. As for me, it's been a pretty good day. Got to check out Canyonlands and Arches National Park for the first time. Gonna check out hurriedly, Colorado here a little bit. Kind of a funky town. Then I'm gonna drive a couple hours into the San Miguel Mountains to try to find a nice place to car camp tonight.